the Nashville 2 podcast with your host, Edward Fox.
G'day, viewers and listeners. It's Ed Fox back with another amazing episode, and this one will be an amazing episode of Nashville 2, where we tell Middle Tennessee stories. You're Nashville 2. Let's tell your story. If you know somebody that needs to have their story told, they're doing some cool things in the community, they're having some fun, we want them on the show. We want to brag on them. We want to lift them up. We want to edify them. How about that? How about that, Nita? Edify. You like that? And my special guest today is the one, the only, the uncomparable iPhone photographer only, Nita Ann. G'day, Nita. How you doing?
Hello. So happy to be here.
Well, I'm excited to have you on the show. We tried this once before and I lost the recording somewhere, so we're going to do it right this time.
It's all good. Life has updated and I have better stories to tell.
Okay, well, great. Well, let's start with, are you from Middle Tennessee originally?
I am not. I'm actually from Cincinnati, Ohio, born and raised. And then when I decided to go to college, I wanted to go to a college for music business and learn about, music basically, and the business side of it, correction. And then I went to MTSU. That's what I went to college for, was there for 6 years. And I decided to make Nashville my new home.
Okay. And so that has been how long now? How long?
This is like 10 years. I've been living here since the Music City Center opened up.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're like 12 when you got here. I'm like, oh, you young whippersnappers, you. And that's a bad accent, but that's the best I can do. I can't help it. Okay, so awesome. So one day you just woke up and you said, you know what? Screw it. I can't afford a real camera, so I'm just going to shoot with my iPhone.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I was inspired by my marketing class, technically. I wasn't huge into social media. That's what really inspired it. I wasn't huge into social media, but my marketing class told me, hey, if you want to stand out from Bob and Joe and Suzanne, you need to have a very high quality social media page for them to take you seriously, that you want to be involved in the entertainment business. And so I can't afford a camera photographer to follow me around and take cool photos of me trying to prove that I am serious about the entertainment business. I'm so serious, but I can't afford that kind of serious. And so the closest thing to looking high quality back in those days was the iPhone 8 Plus at the time. Androids didn't have the portrait mode feature. And so I went ahead and got that phone and started practicing on myself so I can have better photos. And then I started doing people and then went from one thing to another.
Right. And so I disclaimer, folks, I have had Nita do a photo shoot for me, and I'm like, and we were just going to do like a few photos. And so I like this one. Oh, and I want that one. Oh, and I want those 20. I want that 10. And just send me an invoice where you're like, let's just do it. And then here's a big fat tip, because I'm a pain in the butt, because I had to do shirt changes and different things. Had to scramble back to my car, change my shirt out. We were downtown Franklin. I think they came out really, really good. I've been bragging on you ever since. Handing your name out left, right, and center. So I'm excited to have you on the show. So tell us a little bit about, so just to give you some background in case we skip over it, how did you told us how you started to create an image of you using social media, using your iPhone, but now you have a business taking photos with your iPhone for all sorts of people and celebrities and groups and all sorts of things. So walk us through a little bit about that. Give us sort of like your 30-second pitch or your minute pitch, that if nobody had ever met you before or even knew you existed, who is Nita, and who is Nita in Nashville Photography, I think is your email.
Yeah, so basically my name is Nita. I've shot over 400 plus clients, musicians, influencers, celebrities, but the most importantly, I'm able to have a wide range of shooting everything on my iPhone. Your average photographer needs specific lenses to do certain photo shoots. For me, that's not necessary. I can do from weddings to strip clubs. From kids to adults, couples to lifestyle fashion designing, like photography, product photography to car photography. And I'm here to not only show people, hey, I take cool photos, but I'm also here to educate and inspire people who don't know that they have a really cool tool that can change their whole branding. From videos to photos. My music videos, thank goodness, I'm so thankful for, have been on CMT and BET, all with just an iPhone. The power of the iPhone.
So, and that makes a good point, because we hear from people all the time, and I know this is one of your favorite topics too. We hear from people all the time, oh, I can't do that because I don't have the resources, or I can't do this because I don't have the tools, or I can't. Stop saying I can't. Like, right. It's mindset, right? I'm a dumb Aussie that quit school at 9th grade. If I let I can't stay in the way, right. my dad is past, but he had a great line. He said, oh, I have a great face for radio, right? And I'm like, yeah, I have a great face for radio, but you know what? I'm going to do a video and audio podcast. And if they don't like my face, then they can go listen to the podcast. They don't have to look at my face, right? But mindset, talk a little bit about, I think you have an abundance mindset. You don't have a scarcity mindset. You have a mindset that says, you know what? Given the capabilities of what I have around me, I'm going to make it work. And maybe you can elaborate on mindset, and because I know you've got some cool stuff coming up. So
yes, I'm so glad that you even brought that up, because a lot of people just completely just disregard that. Like, they don't understand how powerful the brain is and how much control you have over it. And they also don't realize how much control they don't realize that they have over it. And therefore they make actions and choices based off of fear. And so a lot of people, I feel like, are afraid to take calculated risks or do anything out of the ordinary because they're afraid of failing in it or other people judging them for it. And guess what? I got all of those things. I've got judged, I got people look at me weird, but it didn't stop me from getting from here to there. And so yeah,
I got people that look at me weird, and I just think it's because I'm weird looking. I don't know. You know, obviously that's not your challenge, but you failed, Nita. Like, you've made mistakes and you failed. I find that hard to believe.
Yeah.
People don't like. I don't know. We haven't met in person for a while. Have I given you one of my round two-its yet?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think I've
familiar with the term round two-it? Okay, so my uncle used to have these, and he would say things to you like, hey, when you get around to it, would you mow my lawn? Okay, just like people normally talk, right? And I'd say yeah. And then he'd hand me one of these, and it says to it, and it's round, so it's a round to it. So he would do things like that, right? And so I made some of these for me. Yeah. And I put a quote on it that it says, failure is not a comma. Failure is a comma, not a period, right?
Yeah.
Failure doesn't have to stop you.
Right.
Sometimes, you know, we look at it and we don't realize that there, but for the grace of God go I. You know, that statement that, you know, the friend that got caught doing something they shouldn't and ended up in jail. Man, that could have been me so many times. I did the wrong thing that I shouldn't have done, you know, but I didn't get caught, right? Like, you know, I'm not saying I killed anybody or nothing, you know. I'm just saying that, you know, skinny dipping in the local pool at 1 o'clock in the morning when I was a high school kid. Nobody wants to see that, but I'm glad I didn't get caught doing it. You know, the hardest part for me was getting over the chain link fence. I was a fat kid, like 300 pounds, you know, like you don't need to be seeing that. But sorry for those of you that have a mental image now that are driving along and like trying to close your eyes and flush that out of your brain. Don't worry. We might edit that out. We probably won't, but we don't edit.
No, this is a comedy show at the same time.
Exactly. Oh, I've got a new business dad joke for you. My friend called me the other day. He said he started a new business building yachts in his attic. Sales are going through the roof.
Oh my goodness.
So how did you decide to turn it into a business? Because obviously you were using the iPhone, you were learning some of its capabilities and using it to promote you and market you, as a lot of us do with social media. We use our phones. I mean, the Android phones are catching up. I'm an Android guy, but you know, I like the quality. My kids went through so many bloody the MP3 player that Apple does.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's it called? An iPod.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting so old. My brain's gone.
So close. There's an eye in it.
Yeah. There's an eye in it, right? Yeah, anyway, that's another story. I'll tell you that in a minute. But they went through so many iPods, and I had so much trouble with Apple that I said, I am never owning another Apple product because my kids destroy iPods all the time. And so I probably would have gone iPhone if I hadn't had, if my kids hadn't been like destructive of $300 iPods all the time back in the day. End up buying them the iPod shuffles that were $100. I'm like, you buy new ones. Through it. But so how did you transition from just doing your social media to starting to do photo shoots and then realizing you could charge for them, or however that came about?
Right. And for the record, there's a lot of Androids and Google Pix phones too that are actually really good too. They're like neck and neck sometimes with the iPhone. I just know the iPhone, so that's why I say iPhone photography. It'd be kind of criminal of me to be like, Google Pix, like,
right, yeah. So, well, of course, but if Android came to you or Google came to you and said, Nita Ann, we're going to sponsor you, and by the way, start using our phone. Oh, and here's $100,000 a year just for being the Android photographer, right?
If they said I had to exclusively work with them, sure. But if they're saying I can work with them, but there's no exclusivity, I'll be like, of course.
Yeah, if the money's right, it's
just to both ends. I mean, I'll be skilled in both, and I can still teach both.
I mean, when you look at it, like here's the back of my Galaxy S 23, whatever it is, I don't know.
Yep.
It's got bloody better cameras than I messed up my focus.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Yeah. So I say that I bought this. It says it's a HD webcam. I think it's an ADHD webcam because it can't focus. Yeah. So anyway, that's another one of mine. But I remember buying, I started out with the Pentax 1000, lenses, and then I moved up to a Canon EOS 630, I think.
Yeah.
And then I moved over to a Ricoh. Man, my bloody cell phone takes way better pictures than any of those cameras ever did.
And that's what I'm trying to educate for the people who just can't afford a very expensive camera or think that they need a very expensive camera to take good photos. I'm just over here like, look, you don't have to. Slides the laptop over. Look at my high rise. You don't have to.
Right. Are you living downtown? Downtown? Yeah. The vibe of that is, so when we lived in Wichita, Kansas, now Wichita, Kansas doesn't compare to Nashville. We'd done the things, 3 kids growing up. We'd gone from a little 3-bedroom, 1,000 square feet that we bought on a repo, was an avocado green color, like I call it puke green. Not a nice avocado green, like a washed out, faded avocado green. Turned it into a buy me beige when we looked at it and bought it. And I'm like, well, we're going to have to repaint that. But we moved from that, kept it as a rental, moved into a bigger house, moved out of town. And then we said, once we got rid of the kids, we would love to be in a condo downtown where we can just walk to everywhere we want to go. The only trouble they do is they don't really have a lot of grocery stores downtown. So, it's a bit of a food desert. But in this day and age, you can get all that crap delivered. So it don't really
there's a Publix right next door too as well.
Oh, you do? Right. Yeah. So that makes it even easier. But okay, so you get your iPhone, you got a good mindset, you start doing it. So how do you get your first, or what's the epiphany? Is that my college word for the day? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, from hobby, side hustle to career. So COVID is what actually pushed me in the direction. I originally went to school to learn how to make my way in the music industry. And I actually had dreams and goals to work in a music label or, a record company or whatever. I just wanted to make a footprint in the entertainment scene some way, somehow. And so my hobby was iPhone photography, but I never took that seriously. And then when COVID hit, it basically erased any job available in the music industry because nobody was touring, nobody was doing anything. People were actually losing their jobs and getting fired and furloughed. at the record labels. And so there was just no way. And I was working a marketing job for a while, but it was door-to-door sales. And that pushed me even more to be like, I can't do this. This isn't me. I know what I like. I know what I like to do. Let me just see what happens if I can make my hobby into a career, because I'll do anything at this point to like get away from what I'm not passionate in.
Right.
And that's exactly what I did. And so, of course, when I started my iPhone photography, I made like $75 in 1 month. But give it 8 months, right? But give it 8 months, I started making like more. I started making money that paid my rent at the time when I was sharing with a roommate. And then I started making more money. The more people I kept working with, the better. And the more people kept referring to other people. But that's what was the epiphany from switching, that was not wanting to work a job I just was not fulfilled in. And I know I could do more if I tried at least. I didn't think it'd get me this far, but I'll take it.
Right. A lot of the times we don't know what the destination is or what the journey is. Sometimes we plan it out. But what do they say? God laughs when we make plans, something like that. Like, unless you include him, that, he's going to take you in the direction that he wants to, or where he needs you to be. If you have a mindset about that, I'm not saying you have to, but I choose to.
No, it's true. It's true. I agree.
As a business owner, it can be tiring paying cash for everything you need. Well, there's a better way. Introducing Trade Bank of Nashville. Our bartering service lets you exchange goods and services without the need for cash transactions. Trade Bank helps businesses like yours reduce expenses, bring in new business, and keep your cash where you need it most. Find out more and join our barter network today. Start getting what you need without paying cash, because sometimes barter is just smarter. Apply today at nashville.tradebank.com.
What advice would you give people that maybe I was talking to a guy this morning. He's the executive director of a nonprofit called High Hopes, which helps well, I don't know the right terms these days. You got to try and be PC whenever you can. But he's got a clinic and a preschool that works with regular everyday kids, and then kids that have a diagnosis that they might need special needs or that sort of stuff, right?
Right.
I say I'm special ed, so I work with everybody, sometimes and I love supporting those sorts of organizations. And he said he was in corporate for a lot of years before he got to do what his passion was, right? And married to an amazing woman, and she said, look, you're going to quit this job and you're going to do what you want to do. He said, how I did that with 4 kids and a mortgage, I don't know, but I just did, right? So what would you say to somebody that maybe has a dream or has a passion, but isn't being able to use that or do that is their dream or passion?
So I feel like it's truly like it has a lot to do with your mindset. It has a lot to do with your environment. It has a lot to do with your lack of knowledge. And to be honest, those 3 things is what helped me to get to where I got to. And honestly, it could have went a lot faster if I had less distractions in my life, but this is why I'm here to tell everybody.
Right. Yep.
It's true. Like, it really matters where your mindset is, because if your mindset is like, well, it's complaining, blaming, and justifying everything, you're not going to make it anywhere, because those are the things that are going to turn to obstacles for you. That's going to make you less likely to do anything. Like, you can't blame it on, this disease situation is keeping me from pursuing my career, which is not necessarily true. And depends also if you're sick, and sorry for those who are sick. But a lot of things, everyone has obstacles in life. Everyone has something that that has happened to them. And the thing is, if their mindset is strong enough and resilient, that's what keeps them going. Like, everyone goes through hardships. It's just what you do about it that, affects it,
Right.
And so I feel like having the right mindset is so important, because it keeps you going. And then at the same time, you also have to understand that your environment plays a huge difference, because what's that saying, like a flock of birds flock together?
Yeah. Birds of a feather flock together.
Yes. Yeah, and so you have to be around people who are driven and inspired to like be motivated to do their thing. There's people who like hate their jobs and they won't do anything about it. And when you're around those people, you're less motivated to do anything about what you're trying to do, you know, or any slight miscommunication or concept that happened to what you were trying to do, it will make you even more not, you know, interested in pursuing, because you think, oh well, this isn't working out, so I might as well just give up or stop. I'm just embarrassing myself. But no, like when you're around people that are motivated, and to me, I don't have a lot of motivated people, so I like rely on YouTube people who are successful and they're younger than me.
Right. Yeah, find it where you need to find it, right? I
Find
mean,
it where you need to find it. Or even the networking events. I find so many people who have their businesses going, and I'm just inspired by them too. I'm like, let me get myself together and make more income for myself. Like,
right.
we have
But it's your attitude. I think when I first met you, I think was maybe Lenox Village, Connect Nashville.
Yes.
Sam, Josh, and Tony do such a great job for the Middle Tennessee area. And we've had them on the show, finally got them on the show, which was great, at helping people connect. Right. So, and that's how you and I connected.
Yeah.
But I think it's your mindset and your attitude. Right. If you go out looking, like people say, oh, you can't walk down the street in New York and talk to people because they're all grumpy New York people. I'm like, well, Crocodile Dundee did it. I go down the street in New York and I'm talking to people. I'm saying, g'day, how you doing? I went to Washington, D.C. because my son needed to go to the embassy to get his passport because he's dual citizen, Australian American. And so he wanted his Australian passport because by law in Australia, you have to enter with your Australian passport, even though.
Right.
So anyway, so we go out to DC and I've got these round tuits that I was talking about and I'm handing them out, and I've got my TikTok channel stickers and I'm handing them out. Like, Dad, those guys were like gangsters that you were talking. I don't care. Like, what are they going to do? Shoot me over a bad dad joke? I mean, give me, you know, we got along great, you know.
Right.
I think it's your mindset. Abraham Lincoln, I think, has a quote that says, paraphrase, because I can't remember anything except for a dad joke. Something about people are about as happy as they make up their mind to be.
Right.
Now, I think for people like you and people like me, you know, you people and me people, if we have the attitude of that, you know, I don't care skin color, I don't care gender, I don't care age, I don't care whether you got one eye or two, I don't care if your nose is on the side of your head. Do you know what you're talking about?
Right.
If you know what you're talking about, then I'm going to learn from you, because I'd be stupid not to. Because what I've learned in 50 years is I know nothing. I know nothing. Everybody around me can teach me something. Sometimes they teach me that I don't want to be around them because they're negative.
Yeah, see?
Right?
You don't want to always be around negative people, because then you'll start having that.
Oh, they drag me down. They use up so much energy. I heard a great thing the other day. You ever heard the phrase, are you a glass half full or a glass half empty?
Right. Yeah.
I heard a better one. No, I have a refillable glass. Ooh, it's refillable. Okay, explain that. Well, I can take my positivity, which I happen to be a positive person, and I can share it with other people. And then I can come back and top up my own positivity.
Right.
But sometimes, you know, I'm glad I live in Nashville, because living in Wichita during the winter, I would get down. I would be more depressed because of all the snow and the ice and the sludge. And, you know, Nashville, we get that for about a week. You know, we get a snowpocalypse every other year, or an ice apocalypse or something, you know. But for the most part, it's pretty good. You know, trying to go up the hill on the ice, you know, you just stay. That's why I understand. In Kansas, I had a little Kia Soul at the time, and I got a flat driveway. I couldn't even get out of my driveway because my car just spun. Like, it just spun its wheels. You know, but talking about that, do you find, do you ever have issues with depression or second guessing as to whether you're doing the right thing, or what you did wrong yesterday, or you said the wrong thing? Do you suffer from those sort of challenges as well?
Yes. And I feel like everyone does. And that's why it's so important to have to take care of your mental health and take breaks sometimes, because I'm an entrepreneur that's pretty much working with anything that has anything to do with my business every single day. Even it includes social media. that counts as my business. And so it's so important to take a break. It's so important to meditate. I meditate. It's so important to exercise because that goes hand in hand, keeping your
That was
mind right. Your
meditate,
body
not medicate, right? That was
meditate, not medicate.
Yeah. That's a good slogan. That actually is pretty good. Meditate, not medicate. That's a podcast right there.
Who can use that marketing term now?
Yeah. Folks, that's a free idea for you. Go ahead and use it.
But it's true. And I have moments not all the time, but I have moments every now and then. Yeah, where I'm just like, I never want to give up with what I'm doing, but there's just times where I'm just like, I'm just exhausted.
I'm done for today. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just done for today. I'm just gonna watch some Netflix shows just relax and relax. But no, like, because that's why I tell people, you have to be passionate about what you're doing, and there's no one way to do anything. Because my passion is not, surprisingly, photography. My passion is making people feel good about themselves. And guess what? I use my skill set to make others feel good about themselves in front of the camera.
Right.
And so it fulfills me that I'm able to do that. And so, yes, I am living a high rise, but does that make me 100% happy? It's a materialistic thing. So no, materialistic things don't make me happy. What makes me fulfilled and feel good is making a difference, inspiring others, educating. And so, yeah, I am taking photos for people. I'm also educating others about iPhone photography and consulting with marketing tips and business tips, because that's what I went to school for. But like now I'm about to do a seminar pretty soon, and I'm about to travel around the cities and stuff and educate more people, inspire more people. And guess what? That fulfills me. So I always tell people, like, yeah, you can work your 9 to 5 and make really great money, but it's not always about the money.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna. I look forward to, and I think you will enjoy it. I look forward and I look back, but I look back. Me as a 15-year-old that left school to start my first business, and me as a 55-year-old, and I'm not done. I look forward and I look at. Are you a biography person? Do you like reading about successful people, or is that not something? Watch videos.
I cheat. I look at Wikipedia and look at the very bottom. Or this the beginning to the bottom.
Right, you do the cliff notes. You just do the highlights. Yeah. So, but to me, it's interesting when you look at, in my age at 55, most people don't like to start a career at 55.
Right. They think it's too late.
Right. But you look at guys like Ray Kroc, had created McDonald's out of nothing in his 50s, right? Mm-hmm. And took him years. You look at Colonel Sanders with KFC. You look at, I don't know if it was Montgomery Ward or J.C. Penney, but they started in their 50s too, right?
Right.
So you don't know. You look at these people and you realize, you know what? It's only too late when you think it's too late.
Right.
If you're 90 and you want to start a rock band, then be 90 and start a damn rock band, Right. Can I say damn on my podcast? I think I can say damn on my podcast. Yeah. Oh, I watched a Netflix documentary the other day on beavers. Best damn show I've ever seen. I can say damn. It's all a matter of context, right there. I love your neon sign. For those of you that are listening to this in the podcast, in the audio format and not watching the video, we put this video on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Nita has NitaInNashville Photography. What's that sort of set you back? I need one for Nashville too. I've already got the neon in Nashville. You need to give me the blurb on where to get that, and I can do one of those for my background.
Literally easy. Amazon.
I do love me some Amazon, I have to tell you. Okay, I have a couple of questions for you. I'm doing a test right now on the word niche or niche. Are you a niche or a niche person?
I think it depends on the sentence and how it flows. I say niche.
So you're adaptable. You can do your niche most of the time is niche?
Or niche, whichever. It depends on the sentence and where we're going with it.
You can't ride both sides of the fence here, Nita, because the fence
That's
is
who
going to
you're
keep
talking to.
rising and it'll be painful. But I would say you're a niche. You're a niche. I think I've heard niche more often from you.
It's just like when people say aunt or aunt. I'm like, Southern people say whichever.
I heard how do you tell the difference between a boy ant and a girl ant? If you drop it in and it floats, it's a boy ant.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry, drop it in water and it floats. It's a boy ant. So they didn't like the other part because I started off with if you drop the ant and it sinks, it's a girl ant. They didn't like that. So I just go straight to the boy ant, you know. But okay, so niche right now, folks, for those of you keeping track, niche is ahead by 6. So when I started tracking it, it was neck and neck all the way. But niche is now ahead by 6. I think it's like 40 to 46 people that are niche. I think I don't know why, but anyway, that's just been on my. That's one of my words that is interesting. Do you have a favorite word? Are you a wordsmith? Do you like words?
Yeah, it was kind of funny that you even brought niche and niche up because I think of the same thing when it comes to GIF or GIF.
Yeah, I've read articles on what it's meant to be, but what's your take? Is it a GIF or is it a GIF?
GIF. It just makes more sense because then if I say GIF, I'm gonna mistake it for a gift. It's like, why would I want to make this more complicated?
Well, if you made a GIF of me, it could be a gift. Anyway, that's the best I got. So, okay. Well, so for me, I love words that I don't understand, and I like to learn. See, because I'm a learner, even though I'm a 9th grade dropout because I hated school. I thought I was the smartest 15-year-old I'd ever met, and I knew it all. I was all that in a bag of chips. You know? But I heard a great saying today. We had a guy in our networking group, and we did senior pitches. We did senior pitches, and you had to guess who they were, and then they got up and they did their commercial. And this guy didn't look cool. He says, my name was, they called me Luke at school. They called me lukewarm. He said, because I wasn't hot and I wasn't cool. They called me lukewarm. So when you get plays on words like that, I always think that's pretty cool. So what did I learn the other day? Obsequious. To be overly attentive. Like when you get that waiter that you complain about the fly in the soup and he's like, oh, we'll comp you everything and you can come back for the next year and eat for free. And oh, please let me pat down your, where you spilled the soup or, whatever. Just overly attentive to the point that you don't believe he's being authentic, right? Yeah, he or she or they are being authentic. And so obsequious. And I've got to thank my friend Gail Goodman for that because she laid that one on me at a Panera and I didn't know what it meant. So I
then you knew.
I always like plethora. Plethora is good. Plethora and cornucopia, which are kind of the same thing but different. Like a huge selection, the horn of plenty, a cornucopia. So you got a favorite word that you like? You just like the sound of? Not a word fan. It's okay.
Well, because for me, every time when I watch certain TV shows or movies, especially like shows that are more, I guess, like Suits or something like that, they'll say terms and words, and I'm like, I really don't even know what that means, so I'll look it up.
Yeah, it's funny, and people just nod their head and go, oh, yeah.
No. Yeah, like the word, okay, here's one for you. The word that I recently just looked up, because I actually wasn't 100% sure what it meant. Humility.
Right. Yep.
But I think it kind of goes a little similar to humbleness,
right?
But in a different way.
Yeah. And so, what did you find out when you looked it up? Was humility and humble pretty close?
They're close, but they mean two different things.
Okay.
At the same time, so.
All right. Okay, so lay on me what you found out.
Let me double check.
Google
so
is
I can make sure I say it right.
There we go.
Humility, the definition of it. So humility means a modest or low view of one's own importance. So basically humbleness, but it's just defined differently.
Okay, cool. Awesome. And so I just realized that I've got another podcast right after us. Renetta, meet Nita, meet Renetta. How you guys?
Hello.
you.
Nice to meet you.
It
Now-
is a pleasure.
Where are you based out of, Renetta?
I'm in Illinois. I'm in Springfield, Illinois.
Okay, so folks, this is how you make connections, and this is how I love to be that person that connects individuals. So Nita is a photographer that uses her iPhone, goes around the country teaching people about how that they can use the tools they have to get what they want. And she did a photo shoot for me, which was amazing. But I'm not the biggest celebrity she's ever shot for. Like, I'm like way low. I'll show my humility now, Nita. I'm like way low on the totem pole. I'm just some old white guy that wears an American flag shirt. And we shouldn't have anything in common, but I really enjoy this young lady's passion and drive. And so you guys should connect on LinkedIn or whatever it takes.
Yes.
Hang out, Renetta.
Renetta.
Okay,
Yes.
Renetta. Nita, tell us when you're not working, and we'll end on this. What are your 3 hidden gems around Middle Tennessee?
Yeah, so one of my favorite hidden gems that I recently discovered upon needing to print out flyers, because I don't own a printer. I know what's wrong with me.
Okay.
I went to the nearby library here in downtown. I live in downtown Nashville. I went to the nearby library, the public library, and I discovered the biggest hidden gem in the city that I actually am surprised that there's still people that go to it. The library itself is beautiful. It's like styled like Victorian look, and it's huge, and there's so many options, and it's just so breathtaking to me. They even have like a teen lounge for all the teens to go and do their work.
Awesome.
So one of them definitely is the public library I love. The second one is my apartment complex, the Alcove. It's actually a hidden gem here in Nashville, Tennessee, because it's known for having a pool on the rooftop where you can actually see through it and see the streets and the cars underneath your feet while you're in the pool. So it's
I am out. No. Okay.
Yes. My rooftop has a see-through pool. The third thing that I really love about Nashville is this restaurant called the Mockingbird. It's actually made very retro looking, like it's made in the 20s, but very modern at the same time. And I just love the fact that it's just in Nashville and it has like that vintage look to it. Like that's what makes it look so cool and unique. And they have all these different types of foods that are very brunchy type. I don't know how to explain it, but I love it. It's one of my favorites. It's my go-tos.
The best way to explain it, Nita, is if you happen to take somebody with you, I don't know, maybe an Aussie guy that would like to eat there, and maybe my wife, I'm married to the most amazing wife, a wonderful wife in the world, and that's trademark. So we need to check that out. I'm always
looking to get dinner, have a dinner meeting. And
that's right. Yeah. So this is her. This is the most wonderful wife in the world, and that's trademark. But this is one of the reasons I did the show is we start to learn these things, right, about cool stuff to do around Middle Tennessee. Yeah. Nita, we could have talked for another 3 hours.
I know.
Thanks for being on the show.
Thank
you. I get you to come back and we continue to talk about different things that you've got going on and different things that you're doing?
I'd be honored.
That'd be great. And we've got all your contact details. So folks, check out the show notes on your favorite podcast platform. And when this goes live, of course, Nita, you'll be able to share it out across all your platforms, and we'll go from there. Thanks so much for being on the show. It was a pleasure.
This is the Nashville 2 podcast with your host, Edward Fox.